and Juliet was tragic. They threw their whole lives away for some meaningless hookup at a party.
Maybe they just want to have a little fun. Is that so bad?
They died.
I feel like it was a perfect role in like a bit of a cliche way. I think going from TikTok to this role, one, because I'm a fan of this genre, like truly. This is like something, I think when acting first kind of came of interest to me, I was like, I feel like this would be a segue that would make sense in a way, kind of going from TikTok and being this almost like all-American kind of guy to what Drayton is. And I think there was a lot of similarities there in that sense. I think there was a lot that I could pull from his character, and you know, I think the family dynamics as well. I don't know, I was just super excited for it, and I think like being such a fan of this genre as well, I felt like it was a good, thank God it was this and not like having to play something too far from who I am as a person. I grew up with two older sisters, and so shout out to them for always having something on the TV that I could just like walk in on and just like sit down, because it was always a 2v1, so I wasn't gonna like walk in and like take over the TV, so I was like, oh, I gotta watch what they're watching, and then just naturally, I don't know, just really developed just a liking to these type of movies. I think they're such feel-goods. I think the world needs more of them, and I think there's like always an audience for this type of film. I got the book around like a little over 2 years ago, which is crazy. And I read it and I just like fell in love with the book, and the story itself was amazing, and I was like, this can be something. And I think early on in the process, like kind of collaborating with just such an amazing team, I think it was just such a cool thing to be a part of for my first film in like the early stages of the development process. It felt a little just like surreal, and I felt like an out-of-body experience, kind of like having a say in terms of like what the movie's gonna look like, because I was like, well, who's gonna be starring? And then now you are. And it was just like such a weird thing that like all these things happened at once, where I was like, well, I'm not only gonna be an EP on it, but I'm gonna be in it, and I'm not only gonna be in it, I'm gonna be like one of the leads in it. And so that was pretty amazing, and it meant a lot to me. I think it first kind of came to me and was brought to me to act in it, and then I think later, or not, just like followed up right after. I think it was literally that same day. I think I just asked the next question. I was like, all right, so if I do this, like how long of a process do we have? They're like, well, we have to develop the script, and like movies take a while to make. And I was like, okay, well, buckle up, because I want to make this. And so I think that was like the next follow-up thing. They're like, oh, also, like if you want, like you can be a part of like the development process and like produce the thing. And I was like, what does that mean? And so I obviously just like learned and was kind of just like a fly on the wall in these rooms. And then as I kind of got more comfortable in these rooms, I was able to kind of give my feedback, I feel like I have a decent understanding of what people like to see, knowing my audience, and obviously still doing the book justice. And so, yeah, I think we got to a good place. I'd say yes. I think for this being my first, I'm just excited to just keep doing it, you know? And I think like each project I'll learn something new every time, and I feel like I just learned so much from this. And the background with TikTok and kind of making a video knowing like if this will hit or not, like having that in the back of my mind, even if it's subconscious, like that definitely helps. And I think it gives me a bit more information and insight up to what people want to see, / I don't know, what I want to see, because I'm a consumer, you know, right? Like I think a lot of it as well is like I want to make a movie that I would want to watch, and luckily we got to there with this movie. I felt like it was the least I could do, was to read the book and to see what I'm working with, because it is the source material, right? Like, this isn't it's a fictional story, but it's I mean, this can happen, and like, this probably does happen.
It does.
Exactly. And so it was one of those things where I just wanted to know everything, and so obviously we kind of developed this script, and I would read the script, like, and I got to know it like the back of my hand. But I was like, I feel like I should do the same with the book, because then I have more to grab from. And so, yeah, I think it was super important to me, and I think I was able to learn a lot more about Drayton and just like the overall arc of the story through the book. And I felt it was like part of my responsibility to kind of do the book justice. All the good things, hopefully. No, I'm kidding. I think there are similarities, and luckily, like I was saying, we're not too different from one another, and so that helped me for my first role. It was one of these things where I didn't have to completely act like someone I wasn't. This is, we're talking about a high school jock who kind of has a soft heart, and I was like, oh, I can do that. And I think the family dynamics as well, like, my dad's listening. My dad was kind of hard on me, but in like the best ways. In hindsight, like, I'm glad he was, and I think I was definitely able to pull from my own experiences into Drayton's relationship with his father. And I think I'm trying to think, like, there's not many. There's more similarities than differences, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what's funny? We actually did do a few rounds of chem reads, and she was never one of the girls that I read with. Then, due to making a movie, like, it got put on pause for a sec, and then just like through exterior factors, we just, I don't know, had to put the whole project on pause. And then we came back to it, and we kind of got the green light. And when I was like, okay, well, we still need a Dallas. And so I don't really know how Sienna kind of came into the picture, but I never read with her.
Okay.
And it just like, she fell into our lap, and I was like, yeah, this could work. And like, we actually met for the first time in person. Like, when I saw that she was attached, and like when I saw that we were gonna work together, shot her a message on Instagram, and like we started talking then, and like, yeah, we did that, and then had some calls like with the director to kind of start sculpting the project and how we saw fit. And then we actually met for the first time to promote the movie that we hadn't even filmed yet at the Fox up front. So
really?
That was a pretty cool, like, it was amazing, because we were selling a movie that we hadn't made, and people were like, so how was your experience on set? We were like, we haven't shot it yet. And they were like, oh. And so it was amazing. And like, she is amazing. Like, she is a ray of sunshine, truly. Yeah.
Would you say like that sort of like mini press tour like bonded you guys? That's how you sort of
For
established
sure.
your chemistry?
Yeah, absolutely. I think I knew right then that we were gonna have a good movie. Like, when I first met her, she was just one of those people where, like, I think like 2 days into knowing her, I think, and this is like before being like even sharing those vulnerable moments on set and like spending pretty much every minute of the day together. Like, I felt like 2 days into knowing her, I could tell her anything. And yeah, she's like such a safe space. There's a lot of trust, there's a lot of vulnerability, and it's like you spend pretty much every waking moment of the day with them. It's weird because you're kind of splitting the time that you have together with each other. Like, you're Noah and Sienna, but then you're also Dallas and Drayton. And so it's like you are kind of flipping back and forth to these two people, and then you kind of start to merge. It was pretty surreal. When I saw that we got him to play my father, there was a lot of discussion of like, who's gonna be Leroy? And I think that was obviously important to me, because I have some of my most vulnerable moments in the movie, and some of my most challenging scenes, I would say, were with him. And I was like, I'm gonna need someone who can pull this out of me. And when I saw that James Van Der Beek attached, I was like, this is gonna be cool. And it's quite literally like kind of like a passing of a torch to it could be Varsity Blues like 2.
Yeah.
It literally is like a spin-off of like his life, and I think it just made so much sense. And he was an absolute gem. Like, I am so happy to have worked with him, and he is like become like a mentor of mine, truly. My dad did.
Okay.
My dad did, and he made sure I rewatched it when he attached, and he was like I know I showed you this when we were younger. Like, my dad and I would sit down, and this is when I would walk into the room and he would be on the TV, and so I was like, all right, we're getting some boys time right now. I remember there was like an era where we just cranked out like all of the sports movies. Like, we would watch like Miracle together, Remember the Titans, like all these classics, and like he introduced me to Varsity Blues, and I was like, oh, it's a cool one. Yeah, I repeat myself and just keep saying like how blessed I feel to have someone like James to be like my first screen dad, in a sense. You have no choice but to be in the moment with him, and he just pulls you in. And like, I remember there was one scene where it was a pretty vulnerable moment for the both of us. We had like a bonding moment, no spoiler. The coverage wasn't even on me, meaning like the cameras were on him and I was completely out of it, but out of respect, like, you still kind of like are in the scene with him. And with the coverage being on him, he was saying his lines, and like, I was crying. It pulls a performance out of you as well. Like, when the person opposite of you is like crying, it makes you want to like, I don't know. He was just very like thankful for being in the moment with him, and like that was truly special, because I think that was a moment there, like outside of Drayton and Leroy, like Noah and James kind of bonded there too.
Yeah.
Like he just pulls you in it, and you literally are like, damn. Yeah, I mean, growing up I played everything. It was more of my decision. I think like just having friends that played every sport, I was like, all right, I'll come to you and I'll play that sport with you just to like hang out with you more, or whatever it was. And like, I think growing up playing all these sports just helped my coordination with every other sport. Like, I don't know, I just think they all went hand in hand. And I played football in high school and like 7th and 8th grade, and so it was not foreign to me.
Yeah.
And so I'm lucky I had that background, because it made stepping into this role natural.
Were you a quarterback?
I was not, so that was a little different. I played different positions, but yeah, I grew up throwing the football with my friends, so I know how to do it. But yeah. I think you just kind of hope that there is more work, and I hope that this role can kind of shine a different light on, I don't know, what I'm trying to do with my career. And I just kind of want to keep doing things that excite me and make me happy. I think fulfilled something in me creatively that I felt like wasn't being fulfilled for the longest time. I was like, I feel like I want to be a part of something bigger and like do something more. And I think movies and acting and shows, like, it just like does that. You show up and you create, and like that is, I would say, the goal for this next chapter of mine, is to just keep having the amazing opportunity to continue to do that. I love them. Like I said, it's one of my favorite genres, and like, if it were up to me, which sometimes it's not, I would love to keep working in this space. I think I'm not precious at all to the idea of like, I need to do this, like this needs to be my next project. Like,
Yeah.
I'm very open, and like, if I like the script, I like the script, and like, I'll take the project head on. But like, yeah, I would love to continue to do rom-coms.